Hi, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of SEOs Getting Coffee. And today we have one of my favorite people ever, Erin, with us, who is the MD of my favorite community, which is Women in Technical SEO. Welcome, Erin. It's great to have you here. And unsurprisingly, we are going to be talking about communities and how building communities happens and what are the benefits of being part of a community, even if it's not your own one that you've built. But we'll get into the nitty-gritty of actually building communities as well, which I'm excited about. Erin, over to you. Do you want to kind of give a quick intro?
Sure, yeah. Thank you for having me on SEOs Getting Coffee, even though I'm not an SEO. I appreciate that you've
You can always
expanded
come. You can
to
always
allow
come.
me in. But yeah, I'm Erin Simmons. I'm the MD at the WTS community, Women in Tech SEO, and work to connect people to the resources and other people that are going to help them the most to help them succeed in their career.
Brilliant. And I mean, you know, I'm a massive fan of WTS.
Well, we're a massive fan of you. You've been on our stage, you've been on
Yeah.
our website.
Yeah, talking about stages, you did a Brighton SEO talk recently, haven't you?
Yes,
On
my
this
first
particular.
time, yeah, I'm on the stage. I'm usually behind the scenes, but my first time actually on the stage.
Brilliant. Talking about this particular thing in general. So let's start. Communities. What are some of the most important things when you are building a community? Let's start with the building side of things. If you're building a community, what are some of the learnings that you guys have from WTS? What's kind of the top 3 tips?
That's a big list. But yeah, I think when building communities, there's definitely like a few essential ingredients. I think it's like the why. Why would this community exist? Why would people gather? So, what is your why and the sort of like intersections that that plays with? So, if we go back to the creation of Women in Tech SEO, 2019, Areej was feeling like she didn't see herself represented in the industry as a whole. She didn't see herself represented when she went on stage and the other speakers that were surrounding her. And she just wanted a place where she could go and collaborate with other folks who maybe feel that similar sense or lack of a sense of belonging. So kind of getting into that why, okay, so I don't feel a sense of belonging. How can I create a group where I can feel a sense of belonging to help me succeed in my career? So all of these intersections come together for the why. And odds are, if you're feeling something and feeling it very strongly, there are people around you who are also feeling that way as well. So that why kind of kickstarts everything. And then I think when you get into building the actual community, a lot of people jump to, should we be on Slack or WhatsApp or Discord? And really
Technology, yeah.
it's like save that. I think the other essential piece is really how will you gather, and not how like the technology where, but more how like what will your values be? What will your code of conduct be? So I think of the WTS way, which is our code of conduct, as it surrounds literally everything that we do in the community. Any decision that we make, any moderation that we do, we're always looking to the WTS way to be like, are we doing this within our values? Are we doing this within our community rules that help keep the space focused on our collective career goals? So I would say those two pieces, like why would people want to come together? What are those things that they're seeking that would really just like drive them to gather with other folks who are seeking that? And then how will you gather? How will that experience be in terms of the values that you collectively have and the code of conduct that you adhere to? So before anything else comes, I think those are two really important pieces to think through.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And that's the thing. A lot of the times people will start with the tech, but that's not the point. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
in the name. You should start with what makes a community, which is the people in that community and the shared values and beliefs. Brilliant. I did realize that I skipped a step there because I didn't actually ask you to introduce women in technical SEO. I'm so embedded in it that I'm kind of thinking everybody knows what it is. So let's wheel it back a little bit. Tell me, what is WTS community and
I
where
can do
can
that.
people find you?
Yeah, so the Women in Tech SEO community is a community that centers people of marginalized genders, and we exist to help folks excel in their careers. So we exist because for a very long time, that sense of belonging in this industry and many industries was lacking for people of marginalized gender. So, how do we create a space for us to center ourselves, to grow our confidence, to grow our skills, to grow our connections, all of the ingredients that create a successful career? And yeah, how do we just make that as accessible as possible to people? So, we are a community that is free for members to join. We have a very active Slack space where folks gather in different channels, from technical SEO to paid to PR. So we have a bunch of different disciplines. I would say our name is not as encompassing of everything that we do and who we are at this moment. And there is a,
Whole story behind what's in the
yeah,
pipeline.
exactly. Yeah, I definitely think in terms of our front door being as welcoming to all of the people that we want it to be, right now it isn't. We're working on that. But it is a space for more than just women, and it is a space for people who do more than just technical SEO. So right now we are just over 12,000 members worldwide. We run 5 conferences. We have a ton of different initiatives like our WTS Knowledge, where we pay our writers to publish posts on our blog, our WTS mentorship that's going on right now, which is one of our most loved initiatives, where we match about 100 folks in each cohort in one-to-one relationships to help with confidence, career building type skills. And we have our WTS interview, where folks can just kind of talk a little bit about themselves and we amplify them. So we have a lot of different things going on to help folks with what we call our collective career goals. So we offer, I guess you could say, our services to our members are amplification, opportunities, education. Please forget one. Opportunities, education, and wow, I'm blanking. I might have to cheat on
There's
that one.
one. It's all right. I knew there is
Connections.
a connection.
I think it's so embedded in community that part of it is,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
kind of,
like
you don't forget
connections
it.
and growing your network. So we do believe that those are sort of the 4 pieces that create kind of a successful career: is that connections and network, making sure
Yeah,
you have the education and skills, making sure people are helping to amplify your voice and your work, and then making sure that opportunities are available to you: jobs, speaking gigs, writing gigs, etc.
brilliant. No, I can attest as a very happy community member that you kind of hit all of those, and it has helped me immensely in my career as well. So I have to say, well done.
Thank you.
All right. So we know what WTS is, and we've spoken about building a community. Now, there is the other side of things, which is being part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the times, community building has had its rejuvenation, let's say, recently, because, and I think it was always a very, very, very important, I hate to say channel because it makes it a bit cheap when you say channel, because it's not about the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of companies these days are looking into doing more community led elements in their marketing. Maybe that's better. So, what would you suggest for companies who are looking into that? What are some of the things for them to remember? I know you covered some things in your talk at Brighton SEO. Go.
Yeah, definitely. So I think, and I think there's a lot in there. I think you definitely hit on, it is an interesting intersection we're at right now, where community is being sort of commoditized. Is that the right word? Or it's
Yeah.
basically, part of capitalism in a lot of ways. So we are seeing this very interesting intersection. And one of the things that, as I talk about how brands can engage in communities is how do we make sure that we keep the essence of community, even though it is being entered as a business venture, right? So when businesses think about how community can work with their business, I think the first thing is actually don't just jump right into building your own community. I think a lot of folks I hear are, like, we want to start a community for our customers. We want to start a community for, folks in our industry.
And they think
And
it's easy. They think it's like, build it and they will come. When
exactly,
it's
yeah, field of dreams.
yeah.
And sometimes that is the case if you kind of spark that intersection where, oh, this is a pain point where people need, but more often it's sort of like you build it and then it's like crickets. So the best way, because building a community, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and then it takes a lot to get it going, to get any type of momentum, right? Where people are just joining and people are, spreading the word on their own. So the place to start is all the way at the other end. Become a member of a community that makes sense for you, for your brand. And I can share with you kind of an article of my talk at Brighton SEO. And I have some ways in there where it's like, here's how you can search for a community that would make sense for you and your business. So once you identify that community, join it. And then don't just jump right into it's sort of this slow roll, right? I think as marketers, we are very used to MVPs, right? Minimum
Minimal.
viable products, minimal viable, something like that, some abbreviation. But it's like, right? What's the lowest thing you can do to test it? So think of communities that way as well. So go in and just start listening. How are people getting value out of this community? Why do they keep coming back? What topics are they talking about? And find where your intersection of how you can help starts to connect with that community. So let's say you're joining Women in Tech SEO, and right on our WTS way, it says what our collective goals are, right? Connections, education, amplification, and opportunities. So you look at that and you say, okay, this is what people come. This is the value that people come to WTS to get. In terms of opportunities, I have a great blog and I have a wonderful SEOs Getting Coffee podcast. And I can give opportunities for WTS members to
That's
get their
exactly what
voices
we did.
amplified. And
Exactly.
that's how you are saying, okay, this is a need in the community. This is a value that people come to the community seeking. And I have the ability to provide that. So find those intersections, and then that's where you kind of start to play around with things. Maybe you're offering opportunities to be amplified. But even before that, so you sit, you listen, you kind of find out, what's going on. But then it's like, what topics are being discussed? So like, I mean, I see you in our digital AI chat, answering questions, asking questions, sharing knowledge. So it's also, where are those places where you can go and just make sure that people know you're here, not just to answer questions, but ask questions yourself. So it is that kind of human connection. So you do all those things, you find those intersections, you figure out how you want to engage with the community, and then you get to chatting, sharing, seeing what comes of it.
Exactly. And in the talk, you kind of mentioned this idea of showing up. And I think that really resonated with me, because showing up doesn't mean cramming down my services down your
Exactly.
throat. It means showing up in all of these different ways. So to me, it seems like there's like three things there. There is community builders
Mm-hmm.
like yourself, community members like myself,
Mm-hmm.
and then there is an intersection between the two, which is somebody can be a community member and at the same time can be a sponsor of this community and support it financially for many, many reasons out there. What are some of the kind of, when you're looking at the space between those three audiences, does it all come from the values? Because to me, it seems like as long as you have the values set, like you do,
Mm-hmm.
how those roles fit in and how people interact and what you start with
Mm-hmm.
is already, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that a lot of it does stem from the values, and also just stems from like we have this very nice document in place, the WTS way, that says, we're showing up here for these collective career goals. We're showing up here, within our values, which are to be kind, to be helpful, to be respectful, to be judgment free. And we tell partners from the jump, like if you're going to come in and just sell, sell, sell,
That's not showing
this
up.
isn't going to be the thing that you are looking for. So I think there are kind of like three components to showing up in community. It's showing up consistently, so coming back on a certain cadence, making sure that you're in there, you're sharing, you're talking, you're answering. It's being helpful. So I our community member Dana DiTomaso as an example in my talk and article, where Dana has like
She's
over
brilliant.
1,400 messages in Slack, and is constantly answering questions. And the one example that I use, she answers a question, shares a Moz Whiteboard Friday that's not even hers. I think it's Ruth
Yeah.
Burridi. So it's sort of like Dana's not sharing just to be able to say, here's my resources from Dana, here's my resources from Kickpoint. She's sharing to be helpful in the most helpful way. And that doesn't always mean sharing your own content. So be consistent, be helpful, and then be yourself. So I think that's the big one, especially when we talk about businesses entering communities. You're not entering a community as a business, even if you are partnering with them. You're entering the community as a person. So show up as who you are, be vulnerable, share, be excited. It's being a full human in this community, not showing up as a brand. But all of those things sort of follow, because those three things, showing up in a community consistently, showing up and being helpful, and showing up and being yourself, over time, that's the way that humans earn trust, right? So if someone's helping you consistently and you enjoy that person, you're going to trust them over time. And that trust does transfer to the work that you do, the brand that you work for. And over time, what we see is that visibility in the SERPs, in AI, in just word of mouth is a byproduct of trust. So over time, we do see folks sharing out. Even this is a great example. Like, I will share this out when it comes out on my social. I'm sure we'll share it out in, the Women in Tech SEO newsletter on our socials, right? You coming into the community, me, knowing you, having worked with you, trusting you, like leads to this and leads to me amplifying, not just you, but now part of the work that you do. So visibility is a byproduct of that trust that you build in communities. And the way to build that trust is really showing up consistently, being helpful, and being yourself, not showing up as your brand.
That's brilliant. And that's the thing. It's like if you start off with commercial, you're already on the wrong foot, because that's not what it's about. And I think it's brilliant. Like these three pieces of advice for anybody looking in any of those roles, you can apply it to any one of those roles in a community, and it will make sense, and it will, it will hold you to an account, but it will also open up much more in terms of the opportunities that you get, because it's just a human thing to do, isn't it? It's like
Yeah.
just don't be a poop. I can't
Pretty
swear
much.
this,
And you know what? I think we get rid of the whole WTS way page and just
but don't
put,
be a poop.
just don't be a poop. I think that summarizes it very well. And in terms of like the three roles, I do think it is quite linear in a way where it's like show up as a member. Let's say you're seeing the value in that, right? Then, over time, maybe you do have more resources, whether that's time or money, and you want to invest as a partner. So many communities have partnership programs, right? And there's different levels, but invest as a partner, and then you can expand the value and the helpfulness that you can put into that community. Let's say you do that for a while, and over time you're like, okay, this is really working. I want to do more of this. Then you're in that place where you decide, should I become a community builder? Or there's a whole nother route that you can take, which is, should I just expand? You can expand within that community. I'm sure there's even like in WTS, we hold conferences. So you can be a WTS partner, you can be a WTS Fest sponsor at one of our conferences. We have newsletter sponsorships, we have our initiative sponsorships. So there's so many different ways where you can expand within a community a lot of times, but then also expand to additional communities. We have so many of our WTS partners that support Shima's wonderful community, FDCD, freelancers
Yeah.
for developing countries.
Trees, yeah.
Yeah. So there's so many different ways where you can play around with that, where maybe you never actually get to you actually having to become a community builder. But there is sort of like that intersection of, like, maybe you're not a community builder, but you are a community manager just of your experience in other people's communities. But I do think it's very much that member, partner, and then it's expansion or it's builder.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And I think particularly now, it's very important to set not the rules, but to set to propagate and promote communities as a brilliant way to do all of those things as any of those roles without making, falling into this trap of making it all about commercial values or all about KPIs and all about, because it's like, let's face it, it's difficult to track attribution even on Google ads
Yeah.
that have direct attribution, let alone communities where it's dark social. So
Yes.
how do you actually how do you do it? I mean, I know that a lot of SEOs are now being pushed maybe a little bit by the C-suite into communities as an option, which is, it's important. It's
Hmm.
real. And I think it's the right way to go. What do you do about kind of showing the impact? Where would you go? How would you go to the C-suite and explain that before they come in with, well, we want leads, because that will happen eventually. But without the trust and without you showing up properly, it's never going to happen.
Yeah. I think that's a hard one. I think in general, having a C-suite that's bought into awareness marketing is helpful, but having a C-suite that just actually cares about people is crucial. So knowing and having a company-wide value that helping people is good for business is going to be like, if you have that, community is the right place for you.
It's another slogan for you, so we can just take that one for partners. Helping people is good for business.
Yeah, and it is. Like, I do think very much so that, if you put things out that are helpful without expectation, um, the kind of silly thing about that is it does come back around. So that is, I think, kind of an essential piece. But in terms of like hard KPIs, which, yeah, people want, I started my career in analytics, so it was actually very hard for me to kind of let some of that go with my shift over to community work. But there are a lot of ways now where you can kind of see that, if you're investing in community, if you're investing in helping people, that sort of, rising tide lifts all boats, where you may see your brand mentions go up. There's, I think now 1,782 new AI brand mention tools that
Oh,
just
God.
emerged last month. And use any of them. There's free tools. Just start to kind of track that over time. What's your benchmark? Are your brand mentions going up over time? Is your personal brand name going up over time? Those are ways where you can start to track this idea of visibility as a byproduct of trust. Other ways, let's say with like WTS Slack, something I like to do is go in and just type a partner's name into Slack. How many times is that
Has
business
somebody
coming up?
mentioned? Yes.
So
Yes.
brand mentions, yes, on the wider internet, right? But also, how are we getting some of those mentions in dark social communities where you should be showing up? That's
And
also a
in
great
what
way to gauge.
context? In what context? Is it what is kind of what are the feelings that are involved with that brand in those communities? This is what always kind of where for a brand visibility and trust, all of those things really important. But one of the kind of areas where we don't talk enough about is they are the best place to actually understand your audience, understand what they think about your brand, how they feel about your brand, what topics they're talking about, it's market research that is there available to you, which is just,
Absolutely. And it's not, I don't think that it's leveraged enough. But yeah, absolutely. You can get like brand sentiment. You can understand what are your audience and your customers actually talking about, not even in relationship to your brand, but just in the general topic, like at large, right? So we have a bunch of wonderful partners who work in AI, let's say, or technical SEO SaaS tools. Our Tech SEO Slack channel would be a gold mine to understand what are current pain points. How can I help create features in my tools that would help solve these problems? We have something we're working on right now with our partner pre-render is they're launching a new feature on their product, and they've created a beta version and said, here, have at it. You use this for free. It'll give you some valuable insights. Let us, do answer some questions, do a screen recording while you're going through it. And then you tell us what you want to see in it. And there you have, boom, community-led product development. So there are all of these wonderful ways that businesses can add value. So it's all about like reciprocal value, right? So how can a business get value out of a community? More than that, how can the community get value out of that business? So when partnering with a community, thinking about, okay, what is that reciprocal value that would benefit them and benefit me? Over index on benefiting them, the community members. And that is where you'll find this real sweet spot of being a part, because you're a part of the community. And using, real user testing. I mean, that is an expensive venture, right? If you're going to go out and do market research, if you're going to go out and do all of these things. But also, if you show up in a community and you just dump survey after survey after survey and all of these things, and you're not giving anything back, people are going to stop answering your surveys, these things. It has to help them too. I think Sightbulb is a wonderful example. So Jojo has been a part of the community and is very active. Everyone loves Jojo. Everyone trusts Jojo. So did this beautiful campaign where they had a survey and they said, we're going to use this survey. We're going to find out what the pain points are. And then we're going to create a resource for those pain points. Did the survey, found out there was a skills gap, created a training for the skills gap, made it free, leveraged 2 WTS members to run the training. So Corey Gray and Sam Torres, again, brilliant WTSers. We love all of these people. And that has had over 3,000 SEOs take the training. They did a live cohort and now it's on demand, but it's that, now they have, of course, for their product, all of this information about how could they make their product better? How can they better appeal to their audience of technical SEOs? And also, they have this brilliant training where they are helping people to become better at their jobs and fill this gap, this skill gap that these people identified themselves. So it is about kind of where is that, you're asking for things, but what are you giving?
Yeah.
Give and receive is just so much better than
trust,
reciprocal.
isn't
Yes.
It's again comes back to that trust. If Jojo wasn't Jojo, it would have never happened because, okay, obviously her whole company is filled with people like that, which is brilliant. But she showed up as herself. She built the trust so that actually then when she thought, like there might be something in here around JavaScript, it was JavaScript.
Yes.
And maybe we can help. So it's kind of from the trust, that's where it all kind of comes in. It was the same with me. I got talking about direct conversions. I got a lead from Women in Technical SEO that closed for a one-off project, which was brilliant. And that was only because I was very, I'm very active and I try and help.
Mm-hmm.
And it was off of a back of me helping this community member. And she came directly and said, kind of, can you it's not, she posted like an opportunity, and I emailed her, and it was because she knew
Yeah,
who I
you rose to
was.
the top of the
Yeah,
list because she already trusted you because you already helped her. But that's beautiful because
exactly.
you don't go into the community and
No,
sell. You
no.
go into the community and help. But off the back of that, you got a sale,
Yeah,
right? So it
exactly. That's
is,
it.
yeah. And
That's
it's
it.
not just that, sitting around waiting for the sale. Like, I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about what has WTS given you in the meantime? Because you're not showing up there to get a sale. Why are you showing
No,
up there? What are you getting?
no, but that's the thing. Oh, I love the fact that now I'm being on a podcast. A
Welcome to my show.
bit of research. No, but like honestly, it took me ages to join it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about it when it was created. And
Mm-hmm.
this shows you how needed this is. By the time it was 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
So by the time it was created, I was in marketing for, like what, 10 years or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, and in SEO. And when I heard about it, I didn't think that I am technical enough to come and join the community. And I bet, and this is like, I had loads of experience.
Mm-hmm.
So it took, it's the imposter syndrome. So it took me a while to actually pull the trigger and join it. And I
Mm-hmm.
spent quite a bit of time listening and building my confidence a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started trying to help people. And all of a sudden, I could see that actually, I'm not shit at my job and I am quite technical.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, it's completely, I have to say, Erin, it has transformed how I feel about, oh, I'm getting goosebumps now, how I feel about my career in terms of like raising my confidence, um, allowing me not to kind of constantly be a bit impostery syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like every day when I'm in there, I think, oh my God, what a lovely community. There you go. A little bit of a
Oh, I love that.
sales pitch
We're
there.
gonna take that part out for a testimonial. But I think that what you're saying, and it's so funny to hear you say that you didn't think you're technical enough, because I think about I even just the last WTS knowledge that you wrote,
Yeah, I know.
breaking down all of those
Yeah, this is
like
what I mean.
it's fascinating to me because and we know that again because of that front door and our name that a lot of people think that we know through our community survey we asked people what was their hesitation when joining and so many people say I didn't think I was technical enough. I remember when I was living in Seattle there was this cafe bookshop called Ada's Technical Cafe, and I always looked in the window and I was like, it looks so cute, I should pop in, but I don't know, it's not for me, I'm not technical. And then I went
Coming
in.
from analytics.
And then I went in one day and it's just like it's this beautiful coffee cafe. There's all these technical books, yes, that I'm not gonna ever read, but there's science fiction books. There's it was this wonderful space that I did feel very comfortable and feel a sense of belonging in. But because of the front door, I didn't think it was for me. And we know that that problem exists with WTS, which again is something that we're working on. But it is so interesting that there's this space where you can start to become and feel more confident and know I am technical, I am this, I am that, like, and gain that. But it feels gated in a way by maybe it's our front door, maybe it's how we explain the community. But yeah, that's definitely a challenge that we have.
You are developing it all the time, and I know that you guys are incredibly transparent, which really helps about all of those things. That's the other thing that's really important. So, like, I'm sure that it's work in progress, really, that's going to be sorted. So I'm very happy to be part of it.
We're
You
very
have
happy
done
that you are a part of
loads
it.
for my career. So a massive, massive thanks because, that's the thing. We're a community. You talked a lot about
Yeah.
showing up as yourself. So one of the kind of interesting, like also side products of
Hmm.
being part of your TS is that you might come in not not being confident and not feeling like you can be yourself, but a good community will empower you to show up as yourself.
Yes.
It will, and
I
that
like
all
that.
kind of, it's true. I mean, for me it was like properly like that. So it's about discovering also what yourself actually is
Yeah.
alongside with with showing up later. Like, so
Yeah.
I spent a lot of like listening, looking at what
We
people
love
are doing
that.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that when I
I think
first
there
joined
is
this.
this idea of lurkers is the term that's often used in community and in community like builder communities, really meta
Mm.
there. A lot of people ask, how do you discourage lurking? And our answer is always, we don't. We encourage it. Come, look, see if it's for you. Feel, because there is something that is so important, I think, just in human nature in general, about what we see modeled, right? So a sense of belonging, like outside our walls of WTS, and that lack is because we see it being modeled and reinforced around us. We see people being spoken over. We see, people's work being not given credit to back to them, right? So if we change that modeling in our community, if people are watching that, that's so important. They're getting value out of that. And the point of our community is for our members to get value. So if you're lurking for, you know, a year, 2 years, whatever it is, 6 months, whatever that is, but you're coming back, that to me is like, please, like, this is for you. So if you're learning, if you're growing, not every person who comes into community is going to be able to do sort of that reciprocal, like, give and take. Some people will come in and just take, and that's okay, because we have other people that come in and just give, right? Ideally, and where most of our members sit, is that give and take. I'm asking questions and taking answers. I'm seeing questions and giving answers. That is where most people take. But overall, as a community, I do think, that give and take balances out. But it's okay to come in and just watch what's going on. And hopefully over time, that does grow your confidence to be able to, jump in and answer a question or ask a question or come to a WTS fest or show up to one of our virtual meetups. But yeah, I think that idea of lurking and encouraging that as well, like maybe that's something that could help us with our front door issue in the meantime, is just saying, like, if you're not sure if this is for you, come in and just watch. You don't have to come in and say anything. You just come in, hang out, see if it's for you. And if it's not, there's a deactivate button and you're welcome to do that. There's no, strings attached to this. But yeah, I love when that kind of comes up, because it is this idea like, oh no, you know what it is? It's marketing KPI. Poo is the word we used
Yeah,
earlier, right?
yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Like, we
It's
need
the
our engagement
active
rates up.
active users. What does active users actually mean? Well, sometimes active users are the lurkers. They are
Mm-hmm.
actually active. It's just that they are active in a different way,
Yeah, it's impressions.
Yeah, yeah, it's impression. Yeah. Back to KPIs. There you go. We circled back around. You can't beat analytics out of your.
Can't.
Brilliant. I'm just mindful of time. I could sit here and talk with you for the next 4 hours. And as per usual with SEOs Getting Coffee, this conversation has gone everywhere. And Sean isn't here today, unfortunately, to keep me on track as well. Usually he's much better at kind of like going back to what we were saying. It was an absolute pleasure having you. There's only one thing left, which is our room 404, which should be renamed to 410, which is where we banish something that has annoyed us, something that has, it could be something, anything. We can be digital marketing. We had AI in there a few times. GA is permanently in there, but it can also be something that for you really means a lot and you want to banish. So, for example, we have had chauvinism in there
Mm.
and it's staying in there. So it's really up to you. So what would you like to banish, Erin?
So, can I do something different? Can I bring something out of the 410 room that I think has
My
been
God,
banished?
you've just now, you our whole show. Try. You
I can
might
try.
not be able to.
I
Okay,
can
go
try.
on,
We'll
let's see.
see. We'll see if we can crack the door. So, I do think in general, I am a little AI is already in there. I think it's important and we do need to keep talking about it. But every email I get, every webinar I'm invited to, every, conference agenda, it just does feel very overwhelming. So I think, that again, maybe sneaks in and out of the room. But I think what's been put in the room that we need to release is a lot of what we talked about today, which is let's set the machines aside for a little bit. And if we go back to the beginning, the very basics, human-centered marketing, person-centered, focuses, like we've gone through this era before again and again and again where we always go back to write content for people, but it's really just it's build relationships with people. It's make sure that your customer, your audience is at the center of everything you're doing, and make sure that you are, yes, paying attention to what the machines are doing, but also know that if you continue to invest in people, those tools always catch up. Right. So it's when the search results were getting overwhelming and people were like, this isn't what I want to see, they started appending Reddit to their search queries. And then the tools are like, oh, we're leaving people out, right? So they always swing back. We're seeing that right now with AI, really prioritizing social, prioritizing forums, all of these things. So setting some of that aside for a little bit and then pulling out of the 404 room this idea that, like, how do I create connections with real people? How do I serve real people? How do I help? How do I show up? And how do I be myself in these relationships? I think that that's the thing that I would like to release a bit more back into our industry, but also just our lives in general.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't make Brighton SEO, unfortunately, with the talk that I was going to do. My title is Before Cosine and Fan Out, There Was Audience. So I think we kind of like think the same. Those tools are there to support you in understanding that audience better and, but it starts with the audience. It does not start with the tool. It starts
Exactly.
with people. So there you go, to finish off by promoting my Brighton SEO talk that's coming now in April.
Beautiful.
Brilliant.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
Yes, we missed you very much at Brighton
Oh yeah,
SEO, and
I
we will
missed you so
we'll
much as
crop you
well.
into the WTS meet and greet picture.
Yeah, I said that. I said that to Arij. I said I'm just gonna, like put the floating head.
I'm here too.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bad Photoshop skills. All right, Erin. Is there anything that you would like to say to kind of finish? Where can people find you, for example? How can they get in touch if they have any questions or if they want to connect with you? What's the best channel?
Yeah, so I think to wrap up, thank you for having me. Thank you for being a wonderful WTS community member, for helping people, for sharing your knowledge. Yeah, for amplifying our members. Yeah, we would just really appreciate you and the whole SEOs Getting Coffee team. You can find me on LinkedIn, Erin Simmons. I have a little purple background behind my head. You can find me in the WTS Slack community, which you can enter and join through womenintechseo.com. You can find me at all of the WTS Fest conferences, the Brighton SEOs. Yeah, invite me to anything that's going on. And if you're in the greater London area, I'd love to come and have more in-person things that you can find me at. And yeah, if you see me out and about in the world, please come say hi. I'd love to have a conversation.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Erin. And thanks everybody for listening. Because we're marketers, we need to finish with subscribe and like and all of those lovely marketing actions. But also, if you're just lurking, we love lurkers as well. So don't worry. We are also into that as long as you're getting value. If you're not, please let us know. I mean, I'm the first to kind of I'd love some help as well. Maybe that's the thing. I'm going to go and see what people think. I'm going to ask at the WTS.
There you go. What do the people want?
Idea. What do the people want? Brilliant. Well, thank you, Erin, and thanks to everybody for listening. Another great episode for me.
Thanks, Emina. Take care.